Alice, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Why? Why would anybody... Shh. What am I gonna do?
I don't know, but I'll help you. I'm here for you.
Are you...
Always. You're my big sister, aren't you?
No.
Welcome to Series 3, Episode 48 of Conversation on Eagle Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I'm your host, Lance, and joining the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
And Maggie.
Hi.
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So Series 3, Episode 48. The screenplay was done by Anthony Reed. It was directed by Danny Mahurin, and the episode synopsis were read out by myself. The Guardian closes in on Amber and Trudy, but so does an unexpected ally. Alice receives devastating news, and the votes are cast in the election for city leader. Okay, so panel, Moz and her tribe discover Ned dead from a broken neck and take him back to the mall.
What happened?
That's how we found him.
Near your place?
Nah, behind the old factory on North Street.
What gives?
Somebody wasted Ned. Yeah, he's dead. Looks like a broken neck.
So yeah, what did you make of Ned's death and the immediate reactions to it?
What reactions?
Right?
Oh my gosh.
It was very underwhelming.
It was incredibly underwhelming. Their lack of reaction. I thought Moz had more of a compassionate reaction to finding this body and bringing it to the Mallrats than any of the Mallrats outside of Alice had.
Yeah.
They did not. I mean, I don't really blame them for not being close to Ned or having a connection with him, but I just feel like they were more somber when Zoot died. You know, someone they were genuinely afraid of and didn't like, but they were more sober to the fact that there's this dead kid in their mall and something has to be done about it than they are about a kid who's been living with them and is dating someone they care about. Whether or not they like him, he's there. He lives there, and they just sleepwalk through the reaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can't even say it was shock. They were just blank. Oh.
Yeah, if there was shock, there would have at least been something, but there was just nothing. It was just blank, apart from Ebony's glee, learning that he'd been killed, but nothing. Everyone else just was yeah.
It was just well, that's too bad. But,
Yeah.
I have things I gotta do, so...
Catch you later.
Right, do I have to stay here? Even Bray is just staring oh, wow. Well, anyway, we have an election. We got stuff.
Yes.
It's his death just was an inconvenience.
It does feel like that. Yeah, it does feel like that. It's just an inconvenience to everybody.
When I think about the way death has been handled in the past, whether it was somebody they liked or didn't like, there was at least... an acknowledgement that life has ended, and that's a serious thing, especially when this is clearly his neck is broken. You know what I mean? He died under suspicious circumstances. And if nothing else, just feel something for your friend, Alice, who is going to be absolutely devastated when she finds out. And everyone, it's just treated well, this is inconvenient because we all have other things to be doing right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't think a single person was oh, Alice. There was mostly oh, okay, who's going to tell the twins? But okay, well, it just felt empty, really.
Yeah, it really felt empty. It was just Ned's death had to happen, and it was just inconvenient because there's a better storyline happening, and we have to acknowledge he's gone, but nobody cared. It was
Nobody
again,
for Alice.
I don't even really blame them that much, but it just felt like the writers clearly didn't care that they killed Ned off. They were always planning to, so they never tried to make us care about him, and they didn't bother to write anybody else caring about him.
Not even his sibling.
I mean, that is a fair assessment about the tribe. Like, to be fair, like, yeah, they wouldn't really care much about Ned because they've like, there's been very limited interactions. He's just been a pain. Like, from their eyes, I can see obviously why there's been such a limited response to this. But at the same time, like you said, they have handled death much better in the past. So like this to be a non-factor.
Yeah, it's like it's not even a dead body. You know what I mean? Like Maz could have come and told them anything. That's the way they reacted to it. Like they didn't even react like this is bad news.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That
like
is really bad. Yeah.
There's just not a reaction to the fact that she just brought in a corpse, and they are behaving as though she was like, "Oh, you guys,
by the way,
riot in like Sector 5." I feel like they would have reacted more strongly to that.
Yeah, you're right. Maz had more of a reaction.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Even Maz and the Mozzies were like, they at least had that sense that this is they found a body. Some guy died, and they were like, let's bring him back. I know where he belongs. Let's bring him to his people.
Yeah.
Yep.
They could have easily just said, hey, yo, you guys. They didn't even have to, say anything to the Mallrats. They could be like, not our problem. But no, they brought him back to his tribe. Like, Maz cared more.
That's crazy.
That is sad. Yeah.
Like, she at least took it serious that they're going to want to know that one of their own has died. She doesn't even...
She would want to know.
Yeah, she doesn't even like the Mallrats, and she had enough respect to be like, yo, I found one of yours. I don't know what happened to him. And even the way she delivers the news, there's no sarcasm. There's a nice soberness to the way she's talking to them. She takes it seriously because she doesn't know how they feel about this person. She just knows it's one of theirs. And I'm just going to show you the respect and bring you one of yours that I found. And sorry, I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
And the fact that none of the other Mallrats have any sense of, even if it was only for Tally and Andy or Alice, like the way the Mallrats reacted to Zoot dying, most of them didn't like him. They were scared of him.
Yeah.
Glenn, same thing. They responded to the fact that someone died, even if it was just selfishly motivated by like, I'm scared I'm going to get what he got and I'm going to die next. There's nothing here. It's just,
and moving on. Like, that's what it feels.
And moving on.
Yep.
For me, it just felt like they were sleepwalking through Ned death. His, not his death so much as the discovery of his death. And it makes Alice's reaction all the more jarring.
Yes, we need to go on to that because you just summed it up perfectly. Like Alice is phenomenal. Vanessa Stacy is killing it with her reaction to losing someone she loves. But because you have to compare it to everyone else's reaction around it, it is jarring. There's no denying it. It just doesn't feel. What's the word? Proportionate. That's a bad word, but you know what I mean. Like it's because of everyone else's reaction is so poor. Hers is like elevated to like a different level.
Yeah, that makes sense? Exactly. She's acting her grief so well compared to everybody else who was sleepwalking through that scene that instead of seeing a young woman who is heartbroken and grief stricken, I'm just like, yo, tune it down. It's just Ned. You know what I mean? Like, and I shouldn't feel that way, but everything else is saying basically the narrative is saying she shouldn't even be upset about it.
No, that is it. Yeah, it is literally saying that, and then there you have her literally pouring her eyes out, and it's just like, well, everything else is saying like, yeah, you shouldn't be acting this way. The
narrative's
like we shouldn't be upset about it.
Yeah.
So
right. Narrative's like overact for much. Like, okay, whatever. And it makes it all the worse that because no one else cares, not even in the sense of just respectful, wow, somebody died. And then Alice is so devastated. The fact that everybody else just kind of goes their own way, like, well, anyway, I have stuff to do. It makes them seem all the more callous.
Yeah.
So yeah,
sad.
That could have used a little fine tuning. Because at the end of the day, a young man was murdered. Okay, like you didn't have
killed, dead.
Yeah, you guys didn't have to like him. He was living in your house and dating your sister.
Yeah.
And he has family there. Like, show some respect, some reaction.
They were like, sorrows, prayers.
Pretty much. It's like, oh, okay. We have to draw straws. Who's going to tell them? Like, it's like, it just felt like a job. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
when Casey was like, "Oh my gosh, Tally and Andy, someone's got to tell him," and May was like, "Well, I mean, it has to be you. None of us are that close to them." Like, they just,
Right.
what? It was the way she said it.
Yeah.
Like, well, none of us give a crap about those kids. You're their friend. You're gonna have to tell them.
You talked to him, right?
Yeah, you talk to them, right? My gosh, you guys.
That's so
It's
bad.
just not good. It's not good, you know?
Tyson confirming the kill. Yep, he's dead.
He's
Thanks,
dead.
Tyson.
Thanks, lady friend.
Thanks so freaking much. We would have never known if it wasn't for you.
Okay, that did make me laugh. I was like, okay, thanks. I can see why she went just to double check in case Moz had made a mistake or something like. But I mean, he is a bit.
Carted
silly.
him all the way here.
Yeah.
Yep, they're right. He's dead. Thanks. Thank you.
Oh, no.
And she too doesn't seem to care. It's just a confirmation.
No.
Like, yep.
Yeah, that's it.
He's wearing orange.
I mean, you'd think there would be more of a reaction from Tyson. Like she's been crying all series about how life is sacred.
It's
like,
so
the Guardian.
sacred.
And then, okay, you've
Except
got a dead
for
body
Ned.
right in front of you. Yeah, just nothing.
Thing.
Writers, man,
And then
help us out here, please.
here comes Vanessa, like heart-wrenching wail. And I'm like, girl, you're too good for this scene.
Oh,
Bit extra.
outclassed it. Yeah, it was just.
And they all just kind of stare at her. And none of them look at her like, I think Ellie's the only one who goes in to like hug her. You know, like
Yeah.
nobody cared. They're just like, we knew she'd freak out.
That's so bad. Yeah.
We knew this would happen.
Oh.
And you know, Lex cared enough to want to do an investigation, but just because he wanted to do an investigation.
It like a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Oh yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that was a bit weird. Like it was just because was it? I don't know. Was
He
it?
wanted to throw his power.
Yeah, it was a power play. It wasn't because
Yeah.
he wanted to help out Alice or because of the Ned. It was just power play. Like,
Yep.
Was this the time writers really show a bit of compassion?
And it's almost slapsticky that he's trying to, you know, do things the right way, and nobody's listening. Nobody's taking him serious. Bray's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, what do you want to? What
Go
are you
for it.
saying, Lex? You know, like nobody actually cares. Like, why are you playing this as a joke? And then again, you have Alice come in here acting so earnestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's jarring, and it's like it gives you like a visual vertigo, you know, as you're watching. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this guy dying.
I only care because she's the reason why I feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't wait to kill him off.
Nope.
Okay, we'll come back to Alice's reaction in a moment. Thinking that Ned had abandoned them, Amber and Trudy are hopeful when they hear somebody in the building.
Imposter, traitor, deceiver. It's all you're doing.
What is?
Everything. You were never the true Supreme Mother.
I never wanted to be. You forced me. You brainwashed me. I just wanted to save my baby.
Tai San was the real Supreme Mother. She stayed true to me to the end. She was sent by Zoot.
No, she wasn't. She was sent by the mall rats. Zoot doesn't exist. He's dead.
No! Zoot lives!
Trudy tries to use chosen logic against the Guardian, but when that doesn't work, she slams him into a wall and tells Amber to run before she's knocked out. The Guardian then flees when Ebony arrives on the scene to rescue Amber and Trudy. So yeah, what did you make of the confrontation here?
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't really have any real complaints about it. I mean, Jaffa is still out of his tree, but in the way that
Crazy.
makes sense for him. Yeah, this is the kind of crazy I
It's
like.
crazy for Zoot.
Right, yeah, I like this kind of crazy Jaffa. I like how Trudy just, like, she's scared at first because, once again, this guy who tortured her for how long, and this is the last person they expected to see. You know, they were really hoping help had come or Ned had come back, and instead it's this guy. That is actually quite terrifying, and he's playing it very well. He's quite scary. And then Trudy just says, you know what? I have had enough of you. And just goes at him. And I was like, that's my girl. That is
Get him.
right. You know, like, This girl, give her flowers.
Please, yeah, that moment where she
She
just ran
deserves
into
so
him.
much better.
And just Amber, run. You know what I mean? Like, get away. He's here for me. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, and he's bigger than her. She's not a fighter, but she's willing to try and take this psycho on so that her friend can get away. And my only complaint is, now again, I'm not even blaming Amber for this because you never know how fight or flight or freeze is going to work when you're scared. But it does bother me in any story where somebody makes like a sacrifice play so that another person can get away and the other person does not go.
Just stands there.
They just stand there and watch, right?
What?
Yes, that frozen moment of indecision. I know.
It drives me crazy. I'm like, I'm risking my life so that you can make some headway. Please take it. That's, again, I'm just playfully, negging Amber for that. But they play really well. Right, that's what I thought. I'm like, yeah, they're weak, they're malnourished. We don't know how well Ned was feeding them, and then this is taking a lot out of them. And again, you never know, but I think it's actually pretty powerful. Trudy going at him like that, and then he knocks her the hell out. Jeez, like there's her first concussion. Like, okay, Trudy, jeez. And I like the way Ebony pops in, opportunist as always, right on time.
There she is.
And Jaffa's like, oh, it's 3-on-1. Never mind. It's weird that he made another run for it, even though it was only Ebony. You know what I mean? It's not like he hasn't defeated her before.
He gave her one rugby tackle. It was quite hard.
And it was just so he could get away. Like, come on, you can beat her,
You could have
Jaffa.
taken her, yeah. You could have taken her.
Totally taken her. But again, this also feels like they're speed running this, because logically I could see him just fighting Ebony, not taking her out, but they just need to set it up so that
he could have tried.
They needed to set it up so the girls think they were rescued by Ebony. That's the only reason this is all happening, and then he's got to run off. That's all. That's the only reason any of this is happening.
It's just sped run through. Yeah, it could have taken a bit more time on it, but overall, I did really enjoy this whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
And considering it was these girls in the stunts,
Yeah.
it's like, wow.
Well done.
Well done. They could have easily been hurt.
Like I can ignore all the stuff, things like obviously their hands being untied and they're walking around the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, when did that happen?
When did that happen? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You guys finally figured that out?
It's like, oh, I'm glad you're finally doing something while you're trapped in there.
Only took you 2 weeks.
Maybe they were just sitting like that because they were holding each other up. I don't know.
Hey, that's why I said maybe they were just faking it when Ned came in, pretending they were still tied up, so he wouldn't know that they'd figured out how to get out of the ropes and they were spending their time trying to figure out a way out of the room.
I mean, they're eating somehow because he's feeding them. So, like, is he hand feeding them each time he comes?
Oh, good point.
I think they've been untied this entire time and he left them untied.
Nobody wanted to think that through. The writers didn't want to think it through.
I'll do it for you. He was doing the airplane each and every time.
Could you imagine?
Now open your mouths. You have to eat. Come on.
See, but he couldn't have been gone long because he wasn't allowed to stay out too long because he had to run back to the mall. So he must have left the food there. But how are they? Yeah, how are they eating? I don't know. We can't ask these questions.
I need answers.
Think any of this through.
And then, the other annoying thing that everybody must have noticed: Amber isn't pregnant in this scene.
No, she's not at all.
Oh, we're gonna get to that scene. We're gonna get to it.
Like, she doesn't look pregnant without the corset. She puts on a corset and she looks pregnant. I don't get it.
Literally in an hour, she just suddenly fills out.
She is so svelte in her party outfit. That's what I've noticed. I was like, my goodness,
God.
This girl has the most beautiful waistline in that outfit.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
so good.
As soon as she returns to life in the mall.
Listen, it's not the real baby. It's a food baby, all right? She ate as much as she could, and that's what it is. It'll be gone in the morning.
I was so hungry.
The carbs.
Oh, man. But yeah, it's a decent scene, but it does feel like they're speed running. And like when you have a scene set up where the Guardian clearly wants Trudy, he wants revenge on her. That is the only reason he wanted that information out of Ned. and then is chased off by Ebony, even though we know he can beat Ebony, and he does beat her even in this scene alone. It feels like they only did this so they could set up Ebony saving the girls, and, you know.
Mm. I mean, they didn't have to do that, because
No,
they didn't even add anything to the Ebony suspicions, really, so...
all it does is make Ebony saving the girls more dramatic, like, because their lives were actually in danger when Ebony showed up, whereas if Ebony had just showed up and opened the door, you know, been like, oh, she got us out, but you know what I mean? It's so much more dramatic to be like, she saved our lives. The Guardian was going to kill us.
Yeah, exactly.
And it also has to set up the scene so that everybody at the mall can find out that the Guardian is actually really dangerous and that, Tyson, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah.
You're dumb.
You're dumb.
Dr. Lady don't know what she's talking about.
You're right. He's dead.
I think
Oh, Tyson. What they've
I know. I
done
think
to
we need
you.
to have someone else.
Can we get a second opinion?
I don't trust you,
Third.
Tyson. She's the last person I want a diagnosis from.
Okay, let's return to the Ned reactions.
I'm sorry, guys. Real sorry.
Yeah, we all are.
The stupid idiot! How could he?
What?
How could he do this to us?
Yeah, it's so typical of him.
How do you mean?
Never thinking about us.
Never.
Always letting us down.
Listen, guys. I don't think you understand.
Well, he's really done it for good this time, hasn't he?
Yeah, getting himself wasted like that.
Yeah, and I don't care what happens this time, but we're never gonna forgive him.
Yeah, what did you make of the twins' reaction here?
Like a form of denial.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though I don't think the show has done a very good job of showing the relationship between them, Tally and Andy, I think, personally, have always done well in convincing me how important their brother is to them and how much they trust he'll always come back no matter what he does, you know, and being used to his shenanigans, but always believing no matter what, their brother will come back to them no matter what he's gone off to do. And so being told he's gone and died, that he's gone and got himself killed, the denial, that's what it felt like to me, just not wanting to accept that their brother's really dead.
Mm-hmm.
And that means he can't ever come back to them. So instead, it's a sense of like, well, this time, you know, we won't forgive him for just, it's almost like he's going to come back, even though, of course, that's not. It's just a defense mechanism, it felt like.
Mm-hmm. It could, yeah, could have been.
See, I would have gone for that. It's just the fact that we don't see them actually grieve at all.
Yeah. And I do think, they have this, you know, ingrained in their brain that everybody is out to screw them, including their brother. So go figure he would do this. This is, you know, like I felt like there was some genuine, they were angry.
Yeah.
Like because how could he, you know? He said he'd never leave them.
And now the dumb idiot has got himself killed.
Yes.
But you're right. I don't think we ever really actually get to see them grieve. There's only one moment where I feel it hints at the isolation, the desolation the children actually feel. And it's when later in the next episode or the episode after the last episode, sorry, the finale, when Alice comes back to kill the Guardian, Hallie greets her and she says, Alice, have you come back to take care of us? And you just hear it in her voice.
Yeah.
And that's the only hint you get that these kids, you know, are actually trying to grapple with the fact that their brother is really gone. And nobody gives a crap about them. There is nobody else. And but yeah, they don't bother to show the kids going through it or grieving him. But I mean, they're not important enough. Remember, you know, you're only allowed to grieve if you're in love or whatever.
It just sucks because they were like actually family.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to have that real grief between Pat and Paul, you know, when Paul we'll get to experience it with Ellie later on. But I feel there should have been more.
They definitely deserved more. But again, we got like about 4 episodes left, and they just speed run through everything. There's just no room.
Yeah.
And then season 3, what? Where'd that go?
They had no time.
They had no time.
Into the future.
But it is a shame that you don't get to see them after the anger wears off, after the denial wears off. What are they feeling then?
Mm-hmm.
You know, at least I don't recall. Maybe in the next few episodes, I'll see a scene where I'm like, oh, okay, there's a hint of it, but I just don't recall anything else. And again, I get that plenty of the Mallrats would not have any feeling for Ned, but to show such little respect for Ned, for even his siblings, like the writers could still respect his Callie and Andy have lost their brother, and bear a little energy on that. But tell me you don't care about a character without telling me you don't care. He was there for one reason. That was it. To be annoying, to be awful, to die.
That's it, yeah.
Ugh.
And Bevan's performance deserved way better than that.
He knocked it out of the park.
He did. I almost sometimes get the feeling, because Bevan was so good and Alice was so good, and their behavior didn't match the writing they were given of their relationship. I almost feel like the two actors themselves were coming up with their own headcanon about their relationship, and that's how they decided to perform it, and that's why how they behave doesn't match what the writers actually have them doing, It was just something, because actors will do that all the time, and that's just the way it felt. Like they just had their own little thing and came up with their own headcanon about what this relationship actually was about. And
yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah.
So they chose to play it like we are totally in love with each other, what I mean? Even though it wasn't really written that way.
Anyway, while I've been getting fat, what's been happening back here?
Well, we reinvented money.
Oh, so nothing important then.
Well, that caused a few problems with the mosquitoes. See, they wanted to have their own. We had a bit of a dust-up, but then we agreed to have an election for city leader.
Which you'll win, of course.
I'm not standing.
What? But you have to.
When the Guardian escaped, we all agreed that I'd be to blame. I wouldn't stand a chance against Mars.
So, who's standing for the Mallrats?
Ebony.
She really has done a number on you all.
So yeah, just generally, how did you feel about this storyline being tied up?
I feel like, honestly, there should have been more questions as to how Ebony. What I enjoyed the most was May getting jealous of Amber and Pride hugging and having to call the rest of them all right. That made me giggle.
Another underwhelming reaction to. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I can't even say what would make it better, but these two girls were kidnapped and once again have to awkwardly walk back into the mall because nobody bothered to rescue them. And yet the tone of it doesn't really feel right. There's just something so cavalier about it. And I don't know. There's just something weird and awkward about the girls walking in and, Pride and May just like, Amber, Trudy,
hi guys.
Hey,
long time no see, bro.
We were totally looking for you. Not, you know what I mean? It's just so
mostly.
It is odd.
There's something just awkward and weird about it, and then of course it's this fast drive-through to tie up everything. And granted, fine. I didn't care about the storyline anyway, so
yeah, it was dumb.
It was dumb, and it's just like, well, it's so on the nose. Even the way Lex goes, well, he basically claps. Yeah, that wraps that up. Murder solved.
Job well done,
Exposed,
guys.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. On to the election. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
It's literally screaming that, the election. That's it.
Nobody even asked, like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, it's just like, oh, okay, cool. You're back. Sweet. I guess these problems just solve themselves. The only real reaction I did like was May when they said it was Ned. And she's like, oh my gosh, Alice is gonna freak.
Yes.
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 Like, thanks for acknowledging that. Yeah, there's somebody who is not going to be happy to find that out. But crazy as there weren't any other reactions, like Pride wasn't Ned your big suspect.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he be having a reaction to that? To finding out they were right?
Got his I told you so moment and didn't do anything with it.
Or just oh my gosh, I knew it was him. I should have done more. Nothing. Just
There was nothing. Yeah, no reaction. It was Ned. It
was Ned. I mean, I would have even taken someone going, well, now I feel less bad about him dying. Like, just even if it was just something. But just like, okay.
Yeah.
That all makes sense. Thanks for wrapping it up so succinctly, Ebony.
You did so well. Here's the city.
Nobody has any questions. None. There were just no questions. And it I don't know, it just brought home how dumb the storyline was and how little Ned meant to the story or what his point of existing was just for this. That was it. And again, I just felt very underwhelmed by the reactions to the girls walking in. You know what I mean? No hug.
Yeah.
I mean, there was only a hug between Amber and Bray, I think. And
Pride
I did
too.
actually like that one. I liked how she's in the middle of hugging Pride and then looks up the stairs and sees Bray. And that's who I thought that was a nice bow on that. It's very clear. No confusion. It's Bray. That's her boo.
Yes.
That's who she wanted to see. That, and it's the first time she's ever been happy to be reunited with him. So
that's true.
I thought that was nice for Bray.
I was a little annoyed that I just wanted, I guess, because I know we're just speed tracking for the election, but I wanted some reaction fallout to the kidnapping. I wanted like Amber to have been
something
like, a bit standoffish from Bray because she didn't come and save. You know, what I mean, something that makes this storyline worth it. But nothing. Like she didn't feel. She just went, "Hey, Bray," and then back.
Nobody even said something like that. Like, "Oh my gosh, we've looked everywhere for you.
Nothing
Where were you?"
Oh, Bray, you actually gave up on me at some point. You know what I mean? Like, him to have a bit of doubt or her to have, you know what I mean? Something between them for their relationship, but nothing. It's just, okay, back together. That's it.
Water under the bridge. Like, when Trudy got back, there were a lot of people trying to reassure her. We looked for you. We tried to find you. We tried to save you, blah, blah, blah. And Trudy would be like, no, it's cool. I get it. The Chosen covered their tracks or whatever. Like, there was a sense of guilt from the others knowing we didn't try very hard to find you. You know what I mean? And there was that sense of like, I want to even if I'm just doing it for my own sake, I need to say it out loud. We did try to find you. And the fact that that never comes up, like, oh my gosh, we looked everywhere for you. Where were you? Where was he keeping you? You know, like, how did he take you? What happened? You know what I mean? Like, nobody cares. Nobody has any questions. They're back and none of it matters.
Yep.
Not to the girls. Don't matter to them. Nothing. It's like, okay, we're done. that was it. Like, okay. I mean, the kidnapping only existed because the girls had to leave. So
yeah, because I was just gonna ask, like, could Ebony have accomplished what she has accomplished without the kidnapping?
Yeah.
Or did the kidnapping have to happen?
It had nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like, so why? What was what? Yeah, it was just so that the girls could have time off.
Nobody cares, and it's over.
Like,
everything's fine.
But make it matter. Make it like. Yeah, I know it's just because they couldn't be there, but I know.
They did not want to make any of it matter. It felt abrupt. Like, oh, okay, we're done.
We're done. That's it.
Okay.
So far.
That's what it felt like. We're done. I feel like there was more attention given to Casey's necklace than wrapping up these two storylines. Nobody cared more about that necklace than what it means to Casey.
That necklace got more airtime and resolution. Oh my god, it makes the rounds. It's just ridiculous. And and then it actually has an ending and a fallout and a conclusion. But there's
a whole lore about the necklace that Casey got. Like, that thing has a wiki page, the necklace.
That's funny.
But the girls are back and it's all wrapped up. This is case solved. Okay.
On to the next problem.
Yep. And
god.
Yeah. That's it. And of course they were just like, hey, Ellie, you're gonna have to go tell your sister.
You gotta go talk to your sister.
It was Ned. The rest of us have stuff to do, so good luck.
See you later.
Nobody cares. It's over. It's done. Nobody has any questions. Not even basic questions like, are you okay? Did he treat you well? Blah, blah, blah. Just nope.
Was he bad to you too? Did you ever feel like you were in danger? Did you ever have any suspicion?
How's the baby? You know what I mean? Basic questions. Nothing.
I mean, I think Bray does ask about the baby. I think she says the baby's fine, but it's just, it's such a speed run through it that it could not reiterate any harder that the kidnapping never mattered. And they were just killing time.
And the explanation for Amber suddenly being bigger is they shot those kidnap scenes in the room all at the same time. All in one go, they probably shot them. And then, then they come back to the show.
Yeah, that's most likely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but even right here when she's the scene when they bring her back to the mall, they didn't even think,
I guess you're right. They did.
We should at least pad this out a little bit. Like, you can I would totally excuse all the shots in the kidnapping room, but come on, this shot of her returning to the mall.
I'm just trying here, trying to give some credit, man.
Bless your heart. I mean, I'm happy they're back. I'm glad it's over, but wow.
That's basically it. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we don't have to sit there and watch Ned and Alice anymore. I'm glad that it's done.
I don't know what's worse. Watching her be heartbroken over him and nobody caring but her, or watching her be head over heels in love with an abusive jerk. Like, I don't know what's
and not
worse.
knowing. Yeah.
Oh, that's a choice. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know which one's worse.
Oh.
I mean, that's very tough. It's only for a few more episodes, though. Unfortunately,
because Vanessa's giving it her all, and there's another scene in here where I'm just like, oh my gosh, it gets worse. It just gets worse about how little anybody cares about him or her.
Yeah, let's continue right on, because
next scene. Yeah.
I don't believe that. He couldn't do that.
You heard May, Alice. I'm sorry, but Amber and Trudy say he was the kidnapper.
No, Ned. All this time I never knew, Allie. I never knew.
After learning about Ned's involvement in the kidnapping, Alice tries to rationalize his behavior as wanting justice for the Guardian's crimes before taking him to the farm and where she buries him alone.
If she loved him this much, fine. Her reaction makes sense.
Yeah.
Of course, she doesn't want to believe any of this about him. She's
got to be in denial.
Yeah.
Because how could she love someone that would do that to you?
Yeah.
How could she?
So you want to grasp onto any excuse to justify, because he's gone here now. He can't explain this to her. She can't yell at him. She can't ask him any questions like, why did you do this? What was your end goal? She's got to make the excuses for him for her own, like, emotional stability, little of it that there is. So, I mean, she's fine. But again, it's just when you compare it to the lack of reaction from anybody else and the fact that nobody even offers to bury him with her, to give him.
And why wouldn't Ellie go with her?
Right. Like, where is Ellie?
Ellie's been wanting to get out of the mall and go do things and whatever. Why wouldn't she go with her sister? This is when she needs her the most.
A weird way to do that. Ellie is with her, helping her sister, right?
Yeah.
And kind of comfort her, and even like not saying anything when her sister makes up excuses for Ned. You can see Ellie's face.
Yeah.
It's like, but she doesn't say anything. So it's like, what happened? Ellie would have definitely. I just don't see Ellie being like, oh yeah, you're gonna take him to bury him. Well, I have to make something for the paper. You know what I mean? I just don't see her doing that.
I hate that they show that after. Yeah, that's literally what she did.
Right, and I'm like, you could have at the very least shown a scene where Alice says, "I'm taking him back to the farm," and Ellie's like, "Okay, I'll go with you." And Alice demanding, "No, I need to be alone.
To go alone.
I need to do this by myself, Ellie." And Ellie may be arguing with her, but Alice like being, "No, I don't want anyone with me. I need to do this by myself. I don't want anyone around." You know what I mean? And that would have worked, but just this transition of Ellie being there with her sister, trying to comfort her and telling her, literally saying, I'm there for you. I'm here. And Alice like saying, are you? And she's like, of course, you're my big sister, and then there's Alice at the farm alone. Nobody offered to give this man a funeral for her.
They have to just reiterate, they have to reiterate that nobody else cared about him but Alice. They just have to, keep shoving that in our faces. And it sucks.
Not even the kids. Not even the kids were there. That's so...
I know.
Oh.
Why would you not even think we should bury this guy, at least for those three people?
Yeah.
They gave Zoot a funeral, and it was for Trudy and Bray.
Because they want us to forget about him. They want us to just be able to forget. It's done. He's gone. Never mention him again.
No, this is bad. Like, not even for the kids.
It is. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Thought
wow.
Again, Bob got a burial.
Bob.
And the only reason they were doing it was for the girls' sake. Yeah. The rest of them were like, he was our dog, but we got to do it for the girls. You know what I mean? And again, Zoot got one. Glenn got one.
Glenn.
Everybody went to Glenn's. They weren't even friends with Glenn. He brought a disease into their mall.
They did.
They still were like, let's give him a proper burial. It's what you do. I just can't get over that. It never seemed to cross anyone's mind, like, what we should do with him. They just were like,
they're not the mall rats they were then.
They weren't. They're not. They were just like, well, good luck with that, Alice. Like,
yeah.
Peace.
Nobody gave a crap. And I was like, why isn't at least Ellie with her sister? I can understand Alice not being in her right mind and not thinking about Tally and Andy. But the fact that nobody else thinks, our friend is, they saw their friend absolutely
not even May.
Devastated, and the election was more important than at least arranging something, at least telling her, like, I get it. Maybe you could have had a conversation where they were like, we need to arrange a funeral for him, for Alice's sake, for Tally and Andy's sake, and Alice not wanting to wait or something. You know what I mean? Like, I could buy that, like them at least show that they gave a crap and they were planning on doing, they were like, why don't we do it after, we got to do the election, but like after we can, and Alice was like, I'm not waiting for anybody. I'm going to do this myself or something, but nobody cared at all.
When they found out he was the kidnapper, it went from being, and Andy and Tally's older brother, Alice's boyfriend, to the end, to someone. And but you're right with Zoot. He's still, they gave him that respect. But it's just literally just a plot point. That's all it was. And I hate that they make Alice feel it so much while simultaneously making us not care.
Like, Zoot, it's true. Some of them didn't want to do anything for him. He was a street thug. He was someone they were all lived in fear of. But they at least had a conversation about that, where people were discussing what to be done with him. And Lex is like, just throw him in the street like garbage, And Trudy's like, no. And Bray's like, you're not throwing him anywhere. And they come to the conclusion, look, we're going to do this, even if it's just for Trudy's sake, because whatever he was to the rest of us, and this is before they knew he was Bray's brother, they do it because this was Trudy's baby daddy, okay?
Yeah.
Like, just out of freaking respect, we're going to take care of him properly, just for her. You know what I mean? And then they find out that Zoot was Bray's brother, and they're like, well, then we're doing it for the both of you. They could have still had a conversation like that, where some people are like, Ned doesn't deserve a funeral. He freaking kidnapped these guys. And he's been skulking around here knowing the whole time, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody being like, we got to do it for Alice and Tally and Andy. At the end of the day, this is what he was to them. And but there's no conversation about it.
I would have loved to see that conversation. Would have been everything.
Yeah. Nope. They just left the dead body with Alice and went on the way their business.
They did too. And Ma's just dropping him there to begin with, and everybody just gathers around, like looking down at him like he's some flower bed or something. Like, oh, well, that's interesting.
Yep.
It's
they didn't care even before they knew he was a kidnapper. That's just the thing. You can't even say it was just because they knew they didn't care even before that they found out. And it's not like they didn't have time to make have this discussion.
Yeah.
But got an election to win.
Super important, guys. Super important.
Wow.
No regrets. No regrets.
Again, they're not even worried about the Guardian being on the loose somewhere
anymore. Yeah.
They don't care about anything. The worst people ever. We're supposed to root for them. Yikes.
So while her sister is burying Ned, Ellie writes a story for the amulet about the kidnapping.
What are you going to do about Alice?
How do you mean?
I'm sure she's pretty upset about you naming Ned.
Yeah, people have to know they can trust the amulet. I've got to tell the truth.
Sure you do, but you don't have to hurt the people you love, if you can avoid it.
Alice will understand. I'll talk to her.
You could play down Ned being the kidnapper.
What?
Focus more on the Guardian and the fact that he murdered Ned, and he would have killed Amber and Trudy too if Ebony hadn't been there in the nick of time.
You are shameless. Get out of here.
What did you make of Luke in this scene?
Anybody say red flag? He is unsettling.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing it for laughs, because Ellie's like kind of joking with him and playing off some of the things he's saying, but it's like it's telegraphing the road that Luke is going to go down again.
Yep.
It's a little too much like Danny. willing to print
Who?
willing to print lies and deception to maintain their advantage. And I would have liked it if they'd taken it a little bit more serious. I think it would have worked better for me personally if Ellie had been a little bit more disturbed by the things Luke was saying, instead of being so playful about it. Like she's just laughing off things he's saying, but I don't know. It's just tonally all over the place because, like you said, her sister has left to go bury Ned, and she's working on the paper. And there's not even like a discussion where like she, says out loud, "Oh, well, I wanted to go with her, but she doesn't want anyone around her right now, and I don't know how to help her. All I can do is give her space." Or something,
That could have worked. Just a simple,
Yep.
But again, we're just speed running through all of this. So there's just no time to explore the complexity of emotions that some of these people would be having about Ned and what he's done, and that the fact that there are people who still actually care about him despite what he's done. And how do you respect them while... And the thing is, no one's even expressing anger at Ned. That doesn't see, you know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't even help. Like, if they actually showed, like, if Bray showed actual anger, like that guy kidnapped my baby mama and my sister. That this whole time it was him. Nobody expresses that sort of anger. So their indifference doesn't work because it just shows like, you should feel something about this, but you feel nothing. You don't feel anything about finding out that the guy who's been living with you and dating one of your tribe mates and playing dumb this whole time, I think I would be thinking of all the stuff that Ned had said to my face and realize, oh my gosh, it was him the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, I would be furious if I was Bray.
For real, yeah. All those letters, all the ransom notes, all the, like, he almost died because of it. Like, something, Bray, you should be feeling something.
Nobody feels anything, and there's no discussion about anybody feeling anything. I'm like, what the? It's like it didn't even happen. Amber and Trudy don't even express feeling anything about the fact that Ned kidnapped them. They tell you that Ned kidnapped them, but they don't actually say how they feel about it or express any sort of emotion over it.
Nope.
We can't dwell on that story. That's it.
Their kidnapping was a blip. Neither of them seemed to feel anything. We're home now. Trudy, when she got home, she was crying. You know what I mean? She was overwhelmed with emotion when she first returned to the mall because there was so much going on. You know what I mean? The fact that she was home, but she's not really home. She's on a mission. She doesn't actually have her child. And now she's got to pretend. And she cries. Like there's an outpouring of emotion. And there's discussions over how all of this, even Lex expresses feeling guilty about the beach and there's a lot people were feeling. Nobody here feels anything except relieved that it's over.
Yeah.
So the playful tone of Luke and Ellie feels off to me. Luke sounds just very creepy and red flaggish, and Ellie is a little too candid and playful with him despite the crap that he is saying, and the fact that your sister is burying the guy that she was going to spend the rest of her life with. But hey, news doesn't sleep, so...
She is a journalist, okay? She is professional.
Yeah, there's just no hope. Oh man, I think it's safe to say they've officially given up on this season.
Just close your eyes. We'll be done soon.
Be done soon.
I'm just sitting here thinking about all the great conversations and reactions and discussions we could have had from this. Like,
yeah,
there's so much we could have had, but no. 4 episodes, election. That's it. Come on.
They were like, "Were you invested in this?" Well, screw you. It's over now. I would love to know where Alice got that picture of Ned, that noble picture of Ned.
Protection, of course.
The headstone and everything. This is a joke. This is a joke to them. This is a joke.
I didn't. Yeah, that was weird. That was very weird. I didn't like the whole weird flower in this headstone. Yeah, it just felt weird to me.
Stones have been realistic until this one. What the frick were they? What was the production design thinking when they came up with this?
I had no idea. It must have been for laughs.
They weren't.
The whole thing's a joke. It's a joke. Alice's pain is a joke. Ned was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
It was all just one. It was a prank, bruh.
It's not real life, okay? It's just very poorly written.
The graves in the next 2 seasons are more realistic than this one. I don't know where she got the cybernetic gravestone for Ned.
Yeah, it's just so bad.
So very bad. We've reached the point where I feel like we're just being punished for paying attention to the plot.
That brings us to our final thoughts of the episode. The election for city leader takes place with a healthy dose of fraud and corruption on all sides. After an initial close race, Ebony wins with 60% of the vote. Ray looks forward to a new start for the city, but Amber doesn't share his optimism. So yeah, what did you make of the running of the election and the result?
You skipped the scene where she has a baby belly.
It's magic.
So nose and obvious that they literally have to have Bray say, "You're getting so big."
It wasn't necessary, and it was kind of weird.
They have to comment on it to explain why in the scenes earlier she was still thin as rail pole and now she has a baby bump. They had to actually say something out loud because it's that obvious. I'm sorry.
So bad. So bad.
Yes, this is the lowest it'll ever be. We reached the lowest point of season 3. This is the episode.
Yes, of season 3. I like how you clarified that.
It doesn't get any worse than this episode. Okay, I'm sorry. I just couldn't let that slide. Anyway. The election. This
Lexus scheming.
Jeez.
It was masterful.
At this point, I feel like his scheming is being used to make his wife look even dumber.
That's true, though. That is true. Oh, dang it.
She barely has a reaction to her husband, like, doing voter fraud. She just, Lex, like it's a sitcom. Instead of being rightfully like, what the frick is wrong with you? You know what I mean? And again, she did get a big humble dose of reality when Andy was like, "My brother's dead because of you, bish." And she's like, I didn't know. They're all liar. I was like, she deserved more than that. She totally did. Because nobody else holds her feet to the fire. Anyway. But yeah, it just makes her look even dumber. And I feel like they just have given up on Tai-San. I don't even feel like the writers respect her anymore. So yeah, she just kind of gives her husband the long-suffering wife sigh of sitcoms since the dawn of time. Like,
Lex.
Yeah.
But I did like the scene. You know, you felt like they were actually interested in this.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they wanted to get to. Scene. And it's actually kind of cool. Makes the city feel a little bit lively. They actually get numbers for people interested. Like, oh wow, that's like a 4,000 turnout.
This is quick organization, guy.
Like, wow, we've never gotten a number of kids in the city that they're interacting with, you know? So that was kind of interesting to get that. And yeah, it was just kind of cool, you know? I like how you don't know, is Ebony actually nervous that she'll lose, or is she just pretending since she is already working with Maz? Like, even though she's working with Maz, you know she wants to be the winner. So
of course.
Still be in charge. I did think it was kind of interesting that... Now, I understand Luke has issues with the idea of Maz winning. You know, Maz wants him dead, and he's terrified of her, and she has tried to kill him. But he claims that if Maz wins, they likely they lose their ability to have free speech and stuff. And I didn't think that was a very accurate assessment of Maz.
No.
Again, I'm like, is that just his prejudice because, you know, he clearly doesn't like her with good reason? Or is that the narrative trying to tell us that Maz would be a bad fit? Or is, you know, it just, because I'm like, she's not the type who would denounce free speech. That's more of a Mallrat thing.
Yeah, that seems more on them.
yeah, yeah. I thought this was an okay scene, and I even like the way it was sort of set up with little voting booths and stuff like that. That was actually kind of cool. You know, the set. They put a lot of energy into this, which is probably why there was so little energy put into anything else. Because I imagine this scene was kind of a production nightmare, getting all of these extras together and getting all the coverage they would need. So maybe that is why the rest of the episode is so, yeah, because all of the energy went here.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, that's why they were so excited about the election.
Yeah, Ebony winning. Amber being the only one who's like, yeah, but it's Ebony.
How is Amber the only one?
It's Ebony.
We've learned nothing. Nothing.
Hey, don't fret. Amber will get her day where she also will decide that she trusts Ebony because they have a common enemy. You know what I mean? Like, she'll have her day. Time will come for her as well. Or she'll be trying to convince other people we have to trust her. So, I did like that last shot being her. Like, you know, Bray's like, now we can really start building something, you know? And she's just like, yeah, I'm just hoping it's not the end of things, you know? Even though I'm just like, the end of what? Like, seriously.
What is there?
How much worse could it get, Amber? Yeah. Come on. Like, if Ebony, it turns out to be corrupt, just leave. Like, there's nothing keeping you people here. Just let her have the city, honestly. Like, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be really foreboding that if Ebony wins and what Ebony might do with the power, but it's just like, is it any worse than the Technos or the Chosen that what Ebony's going to do? Give me a break. It really isn't the end of the world if Ebony decides to be a corrupt leader. Like,
I never understand why they don't just leave. Like, at this point, you could all just leave. There's
just
nothing
go
in the mall.
somewhere.
There's nothing there for you, really. Like, you can just go. Go to the farm,
you don't seem
else.
happy.
Yeah.
It's not like you guys didn't give it a fair shake to save the city.
You tried.
You tried very hard.
We're proud of you.
Yes, exactly. But at this point, it's become torture porn, and I don't know why you're indulging in it.
They like it, okay?
Just leave. Like, you're not a united tribe anyway, so it's like you can't have great memories of them all, so just go. Just leave.
Just caricatures of themselves. You know what I mean? Like, they are they've been all flanderized, all of the characters. You know, they no longer actually live up to or build up what these people are. They just take one of their character traits from before and continue having them act that way, even if it doesn't make any sense any longer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so, of course, Amber has to be truly, genuinely concerned that they're going to lose the city that they don't even have. Like,
yeah, it's not yours.
You're not losing anything if Ebony is a corrupt leader. It's never going to get any worse than it's been. Okay, unless she literally sets the city on fire, I honestly can't see it being any worse.
What is actually bad about Ebony being a corrupt leader? Like, so what? She takes the cream of the crop. Like, I mean, yeah. What is it? What is so bad actually about that?
No, it made sense in season 2 because she was a threat to the Mallrats being in charge.
Yeah,
you know, and needing her, even though they didn't want to work with her because she had an actual power base that they required. And like, you actually understood why it was a conflict of what Ebony's doing because it conflicts with what we're trying to do. But it's like, here, you guys don't have anything anyway. You know, like, it doesn't really matter what she chooses to do. Again, unless she starts enslaving people, I just don't. But again, they're falling back on what these characters have felt and done in the past, even if it no longer is fitting for the current situation.
Yeah. And she's already in charge of, you know, starting up certain things right now anyway and handling things anyway. The money and all of that. I don't. It's Ebony. It's Ebony. She's got to always be some type of enemy to someone.
I mean, be invested in them stopping Ebony if they were ever good at being in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this whole time, like, okay, again, season 2, these guys were obnoxious. They drove us crazy. They were the bad guys. But you can't say they weren't trying, okay? They failed, but it wasn't for lack of actually trying to achieve something. They were just really bad at what they were trying to achieve. But that's cool. We actually got to see that. Ever since the Chosen were defeated, these guys have not put effort into really anything. You know, like they want to take charge, but they don't seem to want to deal with the responsibility of being in charge. They have not instigated any great change in the city. And
Ebony has been all her.
Yeah, like they haven't formed a council to get the city leaders to work together. Like, so I just can't root for you guys beating Ebony or stopping Ebony. You guys stopping anybody who comes up against now, because you don't do a good job and you don't do anything. So like, I honestly don't care who's in charge anymore, as long as it's not you. Yeah. On Ebony, you had a plan, you stuck to it, you got rid of somebody that nobody liked, and came out looking like a hero. I just wish you could keep this energy and not ruin it for yourself.
If only. Way too greedy.
But yeah, I mean, aside from the fact that, like, if you really think about this, Ebony being in charge, Ebony winning city leader, which it blows my mind that it really only came down to her and Maz. Like, where did the rest of the city leaders go? Like, the tribe leaders, like, where did all of them go? Where's Ethan? Like, where are all of these people?
Where is Ethan?
Where's Jet? Like, where are all of these people? I love it that these are the only 2 leaders who would be like, I'm going to try. You know what I mean? I want to be in charge. I and I think about it, like, what has Ebony done to prove that this is a terrible result? And again, aside from blackmailing Ned and getting him killed.
Jeez, you sound like the Mallrats.
And it's just like, she was able to do that under you guys' nose. If that's not proof that you shouldn't be in charge of anything, like, every time the Mallrats, it falls apart, like in this season, it's because of their own internal sabotage. It's not because of anyone outside messing things up for them. It's because they cannot keep track of their own people. They
They suck.
They suck so bad. So bad. Pride, you didn't trust Ned, but you didn't bother to watch him or keep an eye on him or follow him around to figure out what he was doing. Even though you wanted Amber back so badly.
He was busy.
He was busy, I guess. Busy hating Bray. You know what I mean? Like, I just...
With May.
I feel like May put more effort. She was the one who was like, I've got some friends we could ask questions. You know? Like, she doesn't even care if they got the girls back. But she was like, I know some people we can ask around. They might be able to give us some information. Like, she put more effort in than he did. And she didn't even care.
I just wanted him to quit moping.
Why are we supposed to be worried about these guys? Why should we care that Ebony won? You know, heck, I'm happy for her.
She put the work in. Mm-hmm.
She earned it.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed. That's what it is. I'm not necessarily happy because I know what's gonna happen. I like Bramber. But good for her. Your plan worked out flawlessly.
Like, she destroys Bramber. She doesn't come between them. She doesn't...
No, I know, but I still don't like that she went.
I mean, heck, she just says, hey, why don't you guys go leave the city together and be a happy family? And that's only because they were up in her business. And she's like, I've had enough of this.
I need you to go away.
Get out. Go be happy someplace else. Get out of my way. Oh, man. Is this the worst? Is this going to be the lowest? I'm thinking wait.
Whenever we say that,
I know.
Whenever we say that, we find something else.
Like, oh no! I think there's something worse.
You jinxed us, I think. Yeah.
I'm not even sure anymore.
You know what? This is very close. This is super close. But I think everybody believing Alice killed the Guardian, even though his body disappeared, was. I don't think you get any lower than that.
Yeah.
Wow, season 3, you're a great achiever. I'll give you that. It's like, oh, you thought it was bad? It gets worse.
But wait, there's more.
It. Oh man! Wow.
We're so close.
That's impressive. That really is impressive. Are we being trolled by the writers?
They've been trolling us in season 2.
Because for everything that annoyed me about season 2, and again, I still maintain I think it was the best story and best written season for a story from beginning to end. It at least served a purpose. All that annoying crap that we had to see, all this behavior from the Mallrats that drove us crazy and want to make us want to strangle these kids. It had a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just there for the heck of it because they were just spinning their wheels. But season 3 definitely feels like, okay, you're just messing with us. Oh well, it's almost over. At least this season.
Yep, and then the real fun begins.
The true bringers of power and chaos.
Pew pew.
Alright, that brings Series 3, Episode 48 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel. And if you'd like to take part in a future episode of the podcast or to leave us a message, you can do so by contacting us on our Facebook page, on our website, or on Instagram. Just search for thetribe.co.uk or Conversations on Eagle Mountain. So we'll see you next time for episode 49. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Bye.